Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is Allegro. Thank you so much for coming back to watch yet another video. And if you are new here, please do take a moment to subscribe to the channel and join our growing YouTube family. Now, as the title suggests, on today's video I want to talk about debt. I know it's something that a lot of people don't want to talk about. I've been there before, and to be quite honest, it is daunting. It is something that we tend to push back and pray and hope that it just disappears, and we just do not want to attend to our debts. But it's something that will never go away unless you tackle it. So on this video I wanted to give you a couple of tips that I have learned along my journey of tackling the debt that I've had in my life, the debt that I have, and just making sure that I live a much more easier life financially, as opposed to being weighed down by debt every single time. And I think the first step that everyone should take is by first understanding what you owe. You need to know what you owe in order to, find a solution around it. You can't tackle a problem that you don't know in full. And the way you're going to know the amount of debt that you owe is just by sitting down and really doing your calculations, really looking at every single debt that you have. And I think sometimes we tend to overlook the smaller debts and we say, oh no, but this is just a smaller account, I'm not going to include it, I know I'm going to pay it off in a couple of months or a year or whatever. And we tend to only focus on the larger amounts, but every cent counts, so sit down, take a book, take your notes, open your notes app on your phone, a calculator, and start calculating all of the debt that you have. And once you have that, okay, this is what I'm working with. It might be a very intimidating figure, or it might be something that you're like, oh, I actually thought I owed a lot more than this. It's not so bad. Now, how do I go about tackling it? And I'm no financial advisor, but I have learned a few tricks. I have gotten a few great advice from people around me. I've learned from my mother. I've learned from my financial advisor. I've learned from everyday people and how they go about tackling their debts. And I want to share some of the things that I've learned with you, with the hopes that you'll be able to eliminate the debt that you have in your life eventually. And I know that not everybody, there's just looking at the world at large, not even in South Africa and Africa alone, so many people are just living paycheck to paycheck, and they don't even know when they're going to get rid of all their debt, if at all it is even possible to, get to a point where they say, I have absolutely zero debt, nothing that I owe, whether it's on housing, on student loans, student financing, all of that, medical bills, you name it. People are dealing with so much. We're not just talking about the debt that you accumulate as you start perhaps working, and maybe you get a car, financed, or you get a first apartment, you buy a house, and so on. But some people are dealing with debt that was even passed on to them, and it's hard, it's difficult when you are in that dark place, when you are, tackling your finances every day and you feel like there is no solution. Where to from here? When am I going to get rid of this debt so that I can start enjoying my money and, just living the life that I want to live, as opposed to always looking down at my budget, looking down at what I owe, and just having my money be taken away by all of the debt, and I have nothing left. It can be discouraging, but there is a way out. There is definitely a way out. Continue to watch this video and I know it will help you. So the first step, as I mentioned, you need to start by analyzing your debt. Jot it down, every single one, every single item. Put it down, know what you owe. Then you can move forward to how you're going to tackle that debt. Don't be afraid of the big figure. It doesn't matter how much you owe. Put it down and be honest with yourself, and let it be a reality check for you. And speaking of reality checks, I remember a couple of years ago, I'm not sure if this show is still airing, but it was on SABC 1, where they used to help people deal with their debt, like a debt counseling. And I love this show, because people, they would go there pretty much hopeless, like they feel like this is it, this is my life, I will never get out of debt, and they come out of there having so many resources and things that they didn't even know existed to help them eliminate debt one by one every single month, and eventually they were debt free. So it is possible no matter what. And there's also a new show that I saw recently on Netflix. I just forgot the name, but I'm sure if you just go and search or look at the new on the new list of shows, series, all of that. It will come up, and they are helping people who are dealing with this issue of debt, and they're living paycheck to paycheck. And a lot of times it's not that most of them are earning very little. They actually earning decent amount, but they tend to just splurge without even knowing it. They tend to just buy things like it's just these habits that they've picked up that they don't even know how to quit them anymore. It's a bit of takeaway there, a bit of senseless shopping, where you just kind of every day you just feel like I need to go online and order something and just shop, and emotional eating and all of that money that they spend doing all these things that aren't necessarily needs but just wants, and just things that are just really they're wasting their money on. They don't know how to stop, and this show is helping them do that. I haven't really gotten into it, but I saw I think I clicked on like the first episode, and I've just got a gist of what it's about, and I was like, okay, this is something that I'm going to watch. So the second point, set realistic financial goals. I feel like when you do not have realistic financial goals, you don't know where you're going. You don't know what you're saving up for. You don't know, you don't have something that is encouraging you, that is pushing you forward, that is helping you eliminate your debt and start saving the amount of money that you would need to acquire X, Y, and Z, and to achieve whatever goals that you set for yourself. So I feel like once you start setting financial goals, realistic ones, it's going to help you start saving money and stop wasting your money. And in that way, you're saving money, you're putting a certain percentage every month towards your debt. Could be 10%, it could be 20%. It would depend on the kind of budgeting method that you go with. There are various budgeting methods out there. I'm not going to go into detail, but I mean, there is the 70-20-10 method, which is, I think you are spending 70% on the necessities. This is like your rent, your bond, your food, your traveling costs, everything that you need to get by on a day-to-day. Those are the needs that you spend 70% of your salary on, and then 30% would be on, I guess, your debts, your some things that you might, I don't want to say just once, but you might need, but not necessarily. They could kind of wait. So it would fall in that pool. You would decide, what it is, what those things are for you. And then you have the 10% where it would go into your savings. And some people just switch it around. It's not set in stone, whatever works for you. And I know there's some people that have the 80-20 rule. Some people have the 60-30-10. Some people have it depends. Google certain budgeting methods out there. They are there, and you can just try and see which one works, and for your lifestyle, for what you owe, and what you're earning currently, and so on. But yes, getting back to my list. So the second thing, as I mentioned, would be to set financial goals for yourself, realistic ones. Perhaps you want to buy a car cash in the next couple of years, but you are still tackling debt. You tackle your debt, you start saving. So that is something that is going to push you. When you have goals that you wake up to every single morning, I feel like that is going to drive you to lead a better lifestyle financially, because now you are aware of what you want to save and what you want to save for, and the kind of lifestyle that you want to live moving forward. And you know that in order to do that, I need to tackle this debt, and I need to be saving money, and it can be done. It is possible. And I think also the third thing is live below your means. I know sometimes there is living, within your means, and you feel like, okay, I make enough money. I pay off whatever I need to pay off every month, and I've got room to play. I've got some money left behind. Try and live below your means for a couple of months, maybe a couple of years, depending on how much you owe. And whatever that you have, that disposable income that is left behind, hopefully you have a little bit. It doesn't matter. It could be 500 Rand, it could be 1,000 Rand, it could be 5,000 Rand, whatever amount that you have after you've paid all of your monthly debts. Take that and throw it into your savings, or take that and throw it into a larger debt that you might have, because it is always, financial advisors will tell you all the time that it's always advisable that you actually pay a little bit more than what you owe every month. So if you have a repayment plan on maybe, I don't know, your car or whatever debt that you might have out there, and say it's 6,000 Rand a month, sometimes, if you can, when you can, try and just throw in 6.5, 7,000 rand, 500 to 1,000 rand extra. That is going to, you're going to eliminate your debt a lot quicker, and it's also going to help you if you want to renegotiate, if it is possible, if you're not on like a fixed interest rate, you would be able to renegotiate the interest rate of your loan, the debt that you have, and it will help you really get by very quickly and really just eliminate that debt. So when you have extra cash, just throw it into your debts. Throw it into your debts, throw it into your savings. I know a lot of the times people are like, what savings? Where do I start? Do you know how much I earn? I mean, I don't even have anything to save. I'm at a negative and it's still the middle of the month. Where to from here? And this leads me to my next point. Find a side hustle. You can't rely on just one job if you're trying to eliminate debt. If you know that you are living a certain lifestyle, you're living below your means, you're trying every single thing, and you're pretty much doing it by the book, and the advices that say you're getting from me and other people out there like financial advisors, and you're reading up on different articles and on financial institutions that might be sharing advice on how to tackle debt, but you still find yourself really just swimming in the deep end. You're really just kind of barely getting there. Find another job, get a second source of income, even a third one if you can, because that is going to help you eliminate your debt quicker. And my next point, this ties back into living below your means. It's okay to track a little bit backwards. If you know that you're dealing with a large sum of debt, a large amount of money that you're owing, perhaps move back home or get a roommate or go share with some people, because I know that accommodation can be, it takes a large portion of what you make, if not 30 to 50% for most people goes to housing, goes to their accommodation, and the rest is just their food, their travel costs, and so on. So look at what you can, go without for a couple of months, a year or so, and for some people that is moving back home. That I don't have rent to pay, or get a roommate, a flatmate, or whatever, and you start sharing and you're splitting the cost of the accommodation, and that's gonna make things a little bit easier for you because you've got a little bit more that you can save and a little bit more you can put towards your debt. So also look at that, and I also think lastly, I've touched on this in a previous video. I will link it. I'll remember to link the video where I talked about not living according to social media or society standards. It's a trap. It really is. And I know it's hard, especially now when social media is all in our faces. Instagram is all in our faces, and it's quite difficult to avoid some things. You get influenced without even really wanting to be influenced or knowing that, I'm making this purchase because I was influenced by so and so. But the more you see these things on social media, you feel like, oh my goodness, I deserve that, I need that, I'm going to get that for myself. And some people end up getting into debt trying to live up to these social media standards, and you don't know how those people are living and where they get the money, and how they are able to do the things that they do. Perhaps they've been saving for years, perhaps they're finally debt free, and now they've got money and to just kind of do nice things. And it's not a matter of, okay, now I have all this debt that I'm facing. And some people are actually taking loans to go on those vacations, to do the things that they do. So what I'm trying to say is that you don't know, everybody's situation is different. Stick to what you know. Look at your own life, be realistic, focus on yourself, and look at the debt that you have, and that trip will come. That international vacation that you want to take one day, it will come. You will eliminate your debt, and then you will have enough room to play. Basically, you will have some extra cash where you can do the shopping, where you can go on the trips, where you can eat out once in a while or so with friends, and do the things that you love. So don't live according to social media standards. And my next point, something that I've also learned along the way, is to make it clear, make it known to your family, your friends, that you are in a season where you are budgeting extremely, trying to live a certain lifestyle. I mean, I'm someone who believes that budgeting never ends. Once you really get into the rhythm of it, it's a lifelong thing. Like I budget, like I stick to a budget. I try and stick to a budget every single month. Some days I'm a little over and I overspend. Other times I'm like, oh, okay, I'm doing good. Shopping this month, I stuck to my budget. Whatever it was that's on my list, I love going back, revisiting my budget every month and be like, okay, I went a little overboard here. What happened? How can I eliminate? Okay, if I went overboard this month, next month, that's a no spend. I'm not doing that again. I'm not, just to also hold yourself accountable. I think it's really great. And this goes back to my first point about having goals. When you have financial goals, you're able to hold yourself accountable because you will look back at your list of goals, and at the end of the year, you're like, okay, I set out to achieve this. Why didn't I do it? I wasn't as disciplined as I thought I would be. And this is something I can work on in the next couple of months, in the next year. And holding yourself accountable is very, very important. And being honest and realistic and transparent, and not trying to cut corners, that is going to help you eliminate your debt. And my next point, I think sometimes when you are in a lot of debt, I mean, there's people that I know out there that owe millions and they think they're never going to get out of it. And your million might be 100,000 rand. For you, that might be, oh my goodness, the biggest debt that you have currently that you're dealing with, or maybe 50,000 rand. And you just weighed down by that, or even less. But to you, that is a large sum of money. And you feel like, I'm never going to eliminate this. There are ways that you can go about speaking to the financial institutions that you owe, or perhaps even just being honest with the people that you owe, if it's not like a company or so, but maybe you took a loan from someone, a friend, a family member, and so on. Instead of avoiding them, instead of ignoring them, instead of, changing your number, blocking those people, and so on, be honest with them and say, listen, I know that I had borrowed this amount of money from you, and my plan was to pay back this much a month, but now I'm only able to pay XYZ. Are you able to try and meet me halfway? I do want to pay you all your money, but maybe I'm able to only pay you 2,000 rand a month currently. And as things get better for me, I might increase that amount so that I get this debt out of the way as quickly as I can. Speak to them. Be honest about it. Don't try to cut corners. Don't try to ignore people. The more you ignore them, the worse it gets. The same way with these financial institutions. If you keep ignoring your debt, the interest is going higher. Your debt is just ridiculous. I mean, you get to a point where you probably owed like 5,000 rand, but now it's like 21,000 rand, all because of interest that accumulated over the years or over the months because you were ignoring it. You thought, if I just keep ignoring their calls, if I make, a payment once in a while just to kind of make them forget, or I don't know what your game plan would be, but it's never a good idea to avoid it, to ignore your debt. Face it, be brave, be honest. It will get better. You will get out of this situation. So I think that's about it for my tips on how to tackle debt and go about working your way towards living a debt-free life. It's not easy. You need a whole lot of discipline. You need to stay focused. And like I said, you need to live in a certain way, a certain lifestyle in order to tackle your debt. And I know there's extreme measures that some people take in order to tackle debt quicker. Like literally, I've heard of people living in such a frugal way that they have a no spend year. Literally for a year, they spend nothing on clothing, nothing on, just extra things. They don't go out, they don't eat out, they don't do any of those things. They literally just spend their money on, let's say, their house, their rent, and their food. That is it. Everything they throw into their debts and their savings, and they're out of debt in maybe a year or two. But we're not all like that. If you're not that type of frugal person, I mean, it's hard sometimes. You want to live a little, you want to go out and eat at your favorite restaurant once in a while, maybe once a month. Maybe you used to be the person that used to go out 5 times a month or every weekend. So you could cut it down to 2 times and get better and cut it down to once. Maybe Fridays you used to get takeouts. Perhaps skip a Friday and let it be every other Friday and eventually get to just one Friday. Or perhaps you can even go a month without takeout. Not only is it healthy for you, but you're also going to be saving money, making your own food, staying home. and making sure that you are eliminating your debt. So we're not all the same. I know there's some people, like I mentioned, they just go extreme measures on their debt in order to just get rid of it as quickly as they can. And there are others that, you know what, it's fine, I've got 5 years to get rid of this debt, and I will take the entire 5 years. I'm not going to try and eliminate it in 2 years. My payment plan says 5 years, and I'm happy with that, and I'll just keep making my payments until it's done. For me, sometimes I get impatient. I hate seeing all those debit orders going out every month, and I'm just like, wait, how can I pay this off quicker? I might not be as frugal as the people who take these extreme measures, but I do also find ways in just to try and tackle that debt quicker so that it's out of the way, and I just tick it off and move on to the next debt that I might have, take that off my list, and eventually I can sit back and be like, okay, cool, I've just got 1 or 2 debts. Those are pretty much stress-free. They're nothing that really bothers me, and I can just pay it off as I go along, with my payment plan. Nothing that I need to be extreme about. So yeah, I hope these tips have helped you. Like I said, I'm not a financial advisor, but I did just want to share a couple of ideas for you, because I know we're living in extremely tough times, especially now. And financial experts are saying that it's not going to get better anytime soon. It will get better, yes, but we are still going through that rough patch, that delving into the recession. The economy is not doing so well, and so many factors around that are happening that are just making it difficult for people to get out of that cycle of living debt to not debt to debt, paycheck to paycheck, and also just accumulating more debt in all of this. I think I was watching the news a while ago, and they say that the number of loans that have been taken out in the past 2 or 3 years since the lockdown have been at a record high. So basically people are only getting by because they've taken out loans. So basically they can't get by without loans, and that's more debt. So someone has gone out to take a loan of 150k just so that they can get by for the next couple of months, a year, and so on, and they're going to work maybe 3-4 years, 5 years, who knows, to repay all of that money plus the interest and so on. It's tough times. So yeah, that's why I just wanted to sit down and record this video, and hopefully it will help you if you are dealing with debt, trying to work your way to living a debt-free life. And if you have some great tips that you have implemented in your journey towards getting rid of your debt, please do share in the comment section, and share your experience with debt. Maybe what got you into that debt. At what age did you get into it? I know a lot of us make those, stupid financial mistakes in the beginning, especially when we start working, or, our businesses start growing in our early 20s and all of that. And then we look back and we're in our 30s, we're like, oh, when I was in my 20s, I did 1, 2, and 3. I wish I hadn't done that. Now I have all this debt that I'm currently paying off in my 30s and so on. But we learn, we live, we learn, we move forward, and there is always a way, which is why I don't want you to be intimidated by your debt. I don't want you to feel like you're in a hopeless situation. It is possible. You can get out of debt no matter how bad it looks like. Doesn't matter what that figure is for you. You can get out of debt. So I hope these tips have helped. And don't forget, once again, if you have not yet subscribed, please do take a moment to do so. And I will chat to you guys in the next video. Bye.